Okay, welcome back. Today we are going to cover another very important landmark judgment, that is this Keshwanandan Bharti versus State of Kerala 1973. His Holiness Keshwananda Bharti Shri Pad Galvaru and others versus State of Kerala and another 1973. This is a case related to the basic structure doctrine which was laid down by the 13 honorable Supreme Court bench, okay, judges bench. So this is very important judgment, but before I proceed, please subscribe the channel so that you can get the regular updates. And right at the top corner there is an I button, so just click on that and you will get the all judgments right from 1950 till 2020. So all other material related to general studies is there in the playlist, check it there. Okay, so please subscribe. Now let's come to the judgment, and it is 13 judges bench, as I have already said. And in between I will be talking about the Shankari Prasad case, then Sajjan Singh case, few points regarding the Golaknath case, and finally we will come to the dictum of the basic structure doctrine laid down in the Keshwanandan Bharti case. Okay, so first we should come to the facts. So on February 1970, Swami Keshwananda Bharti, he was a plaintiff in the present case and senior plaintiff and head of a Hindu mutt. So it was situated in one of the village in the district of Kerala. So he challenged the Kerala government Land Reforms Act. So as I have already explained earlier in the sessions, in the lectures, that there was a land reforms going on after we got the no after coming of these constitutions. And as we know that it is a state always come up with the land reforms and for the equitable distribution of resources. So these land reforms were very important at that point of time. So when they came up with these reforms, so obviously so few rights were restricted. There are so many rights, individual rights were restricted. So people started challenging those means all those acts before the court. So it is one of the same, in the same category. So the reforms, land reforms were there. And so what happened in this case, so it imposes the restrictions on the management on of the property, means the property rights also. And as I have already said, he was a head of a mutt. So the legislations with which actually the two legislations were there. So they took away the rights of the Keshwananda Bharti to manage the religious affair of the mutt. Okay? So as we know, under Article 26 of the Indian Constitution, that is the all those religious rights are given a religious institution to manage the religious institutions. These are right, even means given under Article 26 of the Indian Constitution have been given. So just with this article, because these rights were restricted, so the case was filed before the court. And at that point of time, the Nani Palkhiwala, the greatest lawyer, assisted by Fali S. Nariman, convinced the Keshwanandan Bharti to file the petition before the court under under Article 26, obviously. Okay. So what happened finally? The Honorable Supreme Court Chief Justice of India, Mr. Sikri, made a largest constitutional bench of the that is the 13th judges, and to review the earlier judgment of the Golaknath case. Okay, Golaknath case judgment was the 11th judges bench, and there the doctrine of prospective overruling was laid down. Okay, if you know this, doctrine of prospective overruling was laid down. And there actually in the Golaknath case, first of all, let us first come to the Shankari Prasad, then I'll talk about the Golaknath. So in the Shankari Prasad case, what happened actually? So the first constitutional amendment act was challenged 1951, and in the Shankari Prasad case, and the amendment was challenged on the ground that it violates the part third, that is the fundamental right, means part third of the constitution is a fundamental right. So therefore there should be considered as a invalid हो जाना चाहिए. So the honorable Supreme Court at that point of time held that Parliament under Article 368 has a power to amend any part of the Constitution including the fundamental right. तो ये थोड़ा हिस्टोरिकली हमें चलना पड़ता है इसमें टाइमलाइन के हिसाब से. तो उसमें अर्लियर केस, जो फर्स्ट केस जो मैंने बात करा वो था शंकरी प्रसाद केस, जहाँ पे बोला कि पार्लियामेंट के पास पावर है, दे हैव द पावर अंडर आर्टिकल 368 टू अमेंड कर सकते हैं वो एनी पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इंक्लूडिंग द पार्ट थर्ड विच इज ए फंडामेंटल राइट. So it was, and it was reiterated. The same was reiterated by our Honorable Supreme Court of India, Apex Court of India. But the same ruling was reiterated in the Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan case in 1965. मतलब same ruling was reapplied here. ठीक है. So now we come to the Keshwanandan Bharti case, but before that, what happened in the Golaknath case? And because after Sajjan Singh, the Golaknath case came, and the Golaknath case, the Honorable 11 judges bench, it was the 11 judges bench, and the court came up with the conclusion that whatever the law the parliament is making is a law within the meaning of article 39, and a state cannot come up with a law which violates the part third of the constitution. So parliament don't have an exclusive power to change the फंडामेंटल राइट्स. तो यहाँ पर गोलकनाथ में क्या बोल दिया गया था? गोलकनाथ केस में इट वाज लेड डाउन दैट वट एवर द लॉ दे आर कमिंग that is a law within the meaning of article 13, and if you read the article 13 you will find that article 13(2) there are things written that state cannot come up with the with any kind of order, legislation, ordinance or something which takes away the right conferred by even the part third of the constitution. Otherwise that can be struck down as a null and void. So it was laid down in that case, Golaknath case. And the doctrine of prospective overruling was also laid down कि the laws prospective means आगे से, for means right from this date we will proceed in the forward directions, not we will apply the law from the backward. So prospective means आगे से हम इसको लॉ को लगाएंगे, ना कि पीछे से, because already so many reforms have been taken place, and if we will apply it from retrospective effect we will give, then it will create the truckload of cases. तो truckload of cases हो जाएंगे. So इसलिए so we will not apply it retrospective these laws, rather we will apply the prospective. This ruling, a judgment date has to be applied prospectively. ठीक है, that the judgment has to be applied, or the ratio of the law has to be applied now prospectively, not the retrospective. doctrine of prospective overruling. आगे से overrule किए जाएंगे, ठीक है, जो भी चीज़ें हैं अगर होती हैं तो ये उसमें गोलकनाथ में इसको लेट डाउन किया गया. तो फाइनली now the government again they came up with the amendment. They came up with the amendment, and by that they had made the alteration in article 368, and new clauses were created. You read article 368 and even 13 ka 4 you just check, and so you will find that in both the cases they said that whatever the amendment which the parliament will come up will make, that will not be the law within the meaning of article 13. So they made the amendment aftermath of the Golaknath judgment. They made the amendment in the constitution. ठीक है. So what happened finally when the things were challenged in the court? The 13 judges bench came up with the conclusion that 13 judges bench of the Keshwanandan Bharti laid down the doctrine of basic structure. 7:6 was the ठीक है, by the 7:6, and it was laid down that the legislature can change any part of the constitution including the fundamental rights and overruled the Golaknath case. तो Golaknath case को overrule कर दिया गया, and stated that the constitution amendment does not fall under the category of a law as mentioned in article 13, but it made a restriction that constitutional amendment should not take away the basic structure of the constitution. Means they can make the amendments, but any alteration should not touch the take away the basic structure of the constitution. तो basic structure को नहीं लिया जाना चाहिए, जैसे कि supremacy of law, judicial review, ठीक है, like the fundamental rights and separation of powers, and so many other things are there. So that should not be that law should not take away these things, otherwise it would be the void. So this was the doctrine laid down, the promulgated in the present case, that is the Keshwanandan Bharti case, which we have discussed. Thanks for listening. God bless to everyone.